everyone. I'm going to give you a chance to get logged on. I'm going to find the video. Let's see. My Facebook is asking me to do something weird now, so hopefully I can find you guys. I hope you're having a good Tuesday so far. Hello, I can see someone's joined us. Let's see. See if I can share this over to the creative group. Hey, Cheryl. Let's see, share to a group. So if you're not part of Creating with Selene, I'm always sharing over there. And of course, my computer's like, no, you're not going to share this right now. So I guess I'm not. I'll put it over here. Maybe, who knows, maybe the internet gods will come back and let me share it after. Hey, Lee, nice to see you. So, my good friend, Chrissy, who does my nails, and she does such a good job. She was, I gave her, do you guys remember the paper that looked like stained glass windows? It was a couple of catalogs back. I forget what you call it. You guys will probably remember before me because, you know, once I go live, my brain is gone. But it was a vellum paper and it had a black on it already, a design on it already. This is a vellum. And this vellum is for Christmas. It's brand new, and the front is fuzzy, and the back is just a vellum. So this isn't the same thing, but she wants to know how to use her old vellum. And I said, well, you need to use blends. And she says, well, what's the difference between blends and regular markers? And I said, there's my video for this week. I just love it when you guys ask me questions that prompt me to come up with good content for everybody. Because although Chrissy had that question, you might not quite know all the deal with blends, and we can kind of inspire each other here. So welcome, everybody. You can see I'm opening an adhesive as we talk. This is the Stampin' Seal Plus, and I have my container here. And you just open it. You have to take this little cover thing off, but you don't want to lose this. This is the whole reason to buy the new case, so that you can protect your adhesive when it's in the holder. And I know that there are a few people that are already not a fan of this, and I did a video in my friend's online retreat, and she said, Selene, maybe you can show the new adhesive just on the fly. And I said, well, sure, I can do that. And I ended up showing it from this angle, which wasn't like, right at the table level, isn't necessarily the most flattering angle, but it will show you how this new adhesive works, because there is sort of a trick to it, and it is very different from the other adhesives that we have in the past. Hey, Linda, good to see you. Okay, so, before we do that, I want to show you this vellum paper, and it has fuzz on the front. Let me see if I can give you a good angle. Oh, it's so pretty. I just want to put sparkles on it. But there is a method to using this new adhesive, and I'm calling the method over the top, because when you get on the street, it's way better if you're at the tip or over the top as opposed to the side or to the side. So my husband was here helping me over the weekend, and we made 80 cards because we were doing card swaps this weekend. And he kept trying to put it down like the old snail, which goes like this, and you go down the street and you go to the left or the right. Well, I kept telling him, no, honey, you got to go over the top so that when you do, your adhesive's right at the top, ready to go when you're there. That's right, Cheryl. Everything needs sparkles. So, of course, my table's already crazy messy, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera a little bit and hope that I don't wreck the angle completely. Nope, you still can't see the table. Woo, this is going to be interesting. Ooh. This is not the most flattering angle for me, but I want you to see the adhesive. So, I have my paper here on the table, right? And I'm going to go down the street, right? And I'm sort of starting up top and coming over. So it's way easier to deal with when the adhesive stays at the tip, and to get it to release, all you do is pull back. So that's how I've been using mine, and I've had no problems. In fact, I needed a new one because I ran out. So I hope that is helpful for those of you that have been having trouble with this. So this is that paper, and I put the adhesive on the back, right? I don't know if you can see the adhesive now. The adhesive has these little breaks every 1/8 of an inch or so, so it makes it ultra easy for it to come off, even though it's super sticky. And then I'm going to attach this, woohoo, like this on top of, I used Merry Merlot for this because I don't know. I thought, oh, what's a good Christmas color? Merry Merlot, it's in the neutrals, but it really makes that paper pop. We'll throw some sparkle on it and stamp a Merry Christmas, and we get the first Christmas card of the season. Yay. So again, I'm going to go, here. Sorry about my hand. I'm going to go with the dispenser sort of up. Boop, boop. And now I've got it stuck to my card base. Totally easy. Way easier to handle, and not the flattering look for me, but hey, we're here for information. You really don't care how I look, right? I did shower for you, though. You're welcome. Or I should say you're welcome to my family. They're the ones that have to be here with me. We're all kind of still shut in the house because we live in Massachusetts. But anyway, this is Merry Merlot behind that beautiful new paper. Now, you can see my adhesive a little bit, so perhaps I should have been a little bit more careful, but I was talking, so it's going to be okay. I'll put a sentiment there or something. Nobody needs to know if you don't paint behind the toilet. I will fix it with an embellishment. Okay, so with all of that, today is about blends and why to use it and how to use it. So first of all, what I don't usually do is use it with StazOn, because StazOn, and I know it's backwards, sorry, is an alcohol-based ink. And blends are an alcohol-based ink. So you ever heard of the commercial, protein gets out protein? If you try to use a marker that's made out of the same thing as the ink, it's going to make like brown mush. So don't mix your alcohols. Lesson of the day, Linda. Thank you, by the way. The only time I ever mix my alcohols is when I'm making coasters. And Linda loves doing this. This one is tumbled marble. I found it at Lowe's many moons ago, and I still have some. This one has kind of a shine on the front, and you can see my old chef dude. We made this one forever and a day ago, and I found the cork back that had the adhesive on it and made a trivet, and so this still sits in my kitchen. But you would have stamped this with StazOn, otherwise it would have come off. And then you can color it with alcohol-based markers, but you got to be really careful not to go through the black, because if you do, you're going to move the black and you'll end up with a messy dude. Okay, so we're not going to use StazOn today. Does anybody know what kind of black that we need to use with StazOn and why? I mean, with blends and why? What kind of black ink should we be using with blends? And I'm going to flip the camera and then look for your answer. Go ahead, I'm waiting. Somebody. You can do it. Hi, Linda. So I got 2 Lindas. That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to flip the camera. I may not be able to see your answers because it looks like my darn computer is frozen. Memento! Joan, you're right. Memento. Joan, send me a private message. You were the first one to come through, and I will send you a little prize. So you got to send me your address, as long as you live in the United States. So, that was kind of fun. Yay. I love giving prizes. Share now in a group. Let's see if we can do this. Nope, it's still not letting me do it. Well, I can't see your comments, so I'm just going to have to stay right here in the middle so that I know that you can see what I'm doing. All right, so when I thought about blends, I was looking for a stamp set that had big open images, and I've already bought this for the holiday season that's coming up. It's got framelits that go with. It's adorable. So let's open it up and take a look at this guy. So I'm going to tell you right now that when you color with blends on regular paper, usually you bleed through. And today I happen to have a stack of shimmery white already cut. So we can use shimmery white. And I'm going to grab a piece of paper for underneath. And I probably should use a Stampin' mat. Hopefully I don't regret stamping plain on my table, but whatever. And I'm going to ink up with Memento ink. Congratulations to everybody who knew that. So if I were to ink up with the StazOn, it probably would work, but it moves and we don't want it to move. So I'm going to stamp, I love this. It's so cute. I'm going to stamp it twice because for what we're going to do, I want you to see the difference. So we'll go, now that I'm looking at it, I think I should have grabbed a yellow too. I have like every marker that I own out on the table. Pretty funny. So we've got two really big houses because they're going to be for coloring. Now I'm not going to leave them in a pile because they bleed. So when they bleed through, I really don't want to have to deal with. So we're going to make the house roof gray on this one. And this is light smoky slate. And I also have a dark smoky slate right here. And then the color lifter. So there's a couple ways you can use these markers. First of all, we already talked about using them on tiles and things that you can, like non-porous surfaces. And this is the skinny side, and it's okay, but it would take us all day to color the image that way. And I really just want to get this done because we're live, and I don't know, for me there's a pressure when I'm live to not take your time because you're important to me. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through and color just in one color for this one. Okay. And it doesn't matter so much that I am going outside the lines here because it's all just the roof. And it's gonna be okay. And you can even go over your own color. So these layer up, and the alcohol ink, it gets wet, okay? So when you're working with the alcohol-based markers, you definitely want to blend while they're wet. So I'm gonna set this to the side for a second, and then I'm gonna start working on my second roof. So this time, rather than color the whole thing in, and you can see it looks nice, I'm gonna take this section and add some dimension. So I'm gonna add a little bit of shading with the darker marker. I usually, I do bottoms up a lot with shading, but I think that the way the sun is coming through that we should shade. So you see that's all shaded. So now I'm gonna go into the next little square, and I'm gonna repeat this process all the way down my roof. So because they're alcohol based, I tend to put my cover back on, and I'm heavy in this back corner again. So whatever corner you pick to be heavy, but see how there's a line there? I definitely don't want the line, so I'm gonna go back in and pull the line out and keep it wet and keep it moving. So now you notice as I'm going, it's bleeding into the next section. That's because it's super wet. Oops, that's the dark one. Whoopsie. But that's okay. You can do the dark one first and then blend with the light. Whatever you prefer, but just keep it kind of saturated. I was gonna use a different word, and then I'm like, no, I can't use that word. And you can even go back in and add like more dark and layer up those darks, and then go back in and blend the line. Just make sure that you do it while it's saturated. All right, so we're gonna go down the line and we'll do next one. Da, 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 da. And so I'm getting brave here. I did 2, but I really do want to stick to. Oh, and it looks like I bled outside the lines over there a little bit, but what can you do? That's because I'm working fast, but you guys get the idea. So we're gonna keep going. And I don't like there's a line there, so I'm gonna go keep blending, blending, blending. And then add a little dark, add a little dark, add a little dark. I can, if I see that one area is darker than the other, I can go, you know, there's no right or wrong here. It's a style thing, and you don't have to do the top down either. You can, for the dark area, it could be the bottom side, but whatever you start with on one particular image, you should stick with, so that you can get the effect you're looking for. So here's the light one again, and nice and saturated. I switched to the other side because I'm really bleeding out because they get really saturated. Here we go. All right. So then the magic for blends for me comes with this little white marker thing. I just finished the roof first. The roof. I keep hoping that I'm gonna get my computer back at some point. All right, so you get the idea, right? Look at the difference. So we have just one solid color for this roof, right? It's still pretty. And then you have these layered dimensions of the roof that gives you more depth. So almost 3D looking, right? So what color should the door be? I gotta give you guys a second to kind of answer, because I think there's a delay, and I'm sorry that I went outside the lines. And hey, check it out, ready? See how much it goes out the back? So you're really definitely, see how it stained my paper? You definitely want to be on a surface that you're not worried about. I can't see your comments or anything. This is driving me bonkers. Let me see if I open it up, if I can look at it. Comments. Yay. Hi. Red door. Okay. Red door, I got you. I'm good with the one-word answers, so I like that. Okay, so this is dark cherry cobbler. Noticing it looks a little bit like this one, doesn't it? And this is the light cherry cobbler. So let's go with the cherry cobbler for our door. And again, I'm gonna start dark in that little corner and a little bit dark right there, and then I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna pull it down with the light cherry cobbler. So we got some depth even in the door, and it's like this little tiny detail. I'm gonna switch sides. Whoops, outside the lines again. Jeepers creepers. And then for this one, I'm gonna stick to just the light one like we did. So we got two different ways we can look at this image and see what we prefer, because this is just the one straight solid color. And hopefully we'll see a difference between door number 1 and door number 2. It's like The Price is Right. You see? See the difference? It's really kind of cool. Okay, so what color should our house be? While you guys are kind of letting me know which color the house should be, I'm gonna take this and see if I can't fix some of the mess that I made up here. Now, this is not an eraser. This is a color lifter. And you'll notice that my paper is wet looking, and that's because it is. This is a lifter, and it's the alcohol stuff that helps blend, but it also will lift out some of that accident that I made up the top. And then I can put a highlight on this roof. So if the sun were over here and pointing down, it would make a mark in the same spot on each of the slats, but it is really bright. So I don't know if I like it. I'm gonna go back over it again and blend it out. So like if you go to lighten it up and it makes big marks, you can go put more color in them, because wow, that really lifted. But you can see how that works. And see how it's still a different color? That means that the lifter isn't dry. Now, I can keep going back over this and over this and over this, but I'm not gonna know where the color on the edge of this roof is gonna land until it dries completely. But I'm okay running it over again one more time right now because I want to see it lift out. But you can see how it can substitute as a corrector. Okay, so you want the house to be crumb cake with yellow windows. I don't have crumb cake on the table. Give me 1 second. Crumb cake, yellow windows, check. Check. All right, so let's bring in some crumb cake. I had purple. I don't know. I pegged you guys for purple for sure, but crumb cake's cool. It's a real house. It's not the house that we go down the street and say, "Oh my God, look at the purple house," because we have a few of those in the neighborhood. I'm gonna come back to this one that we did really plain, and I'm just gonna do crumb cake solid light, and we'll color this in so it's one tone again. And I'm just being careful this time because I have a tendency of going outside the lines, obviously. But let's see. So other uses for these markers, the back side of vellum is awesome because then you're seeing through the vellum like we did on that first card, like this one, right? So we can do some of that too. And I was actually thinking it would be an awesome sympathy card. There's more patterns in that pack. Look at this one. Here, I'll put it against the other color so you can see the pattern. Wouldn't that make an awesome sympathy card? Speaking of like church windows. It's in the new holiday catalog, which is a little overwhelming. There's so much cool stuff. Like, I had to pick my battles, which is unusual. Usually I just buy the whole catalog, I gotta be honest. It's a good thing I have my own discount. For those of you that were loving my BOGO sale last month, I found a whole bunch of stuff and I'm gonna have another go next week. So if you're not in my BOGO group, it's gonna go starting on Monday. And you can use up any of those extra coupons that you might have earned last month. Okay, so that's a solid house, right? And look at how much that lifted. It's still a little bit like the paper looks a little wet to me still, so I'm gonna wait before I go back in with the lifter again. But now I'm gonna take this in sections again. And anyone wanna guess where my dark area will be? So I'm gonna work it in a little bit of a section. This reminds me of the houses in Ireland that I see pictures of, my mom grew up in, the thatch roof house. I should get my cousin Tina to send me a picture of the cottage that we have in Ireland, and then I could recreate it with this house because it looks so much like that thatched roof cottage. But now I've got my blend here, and I'm making this top corner a little darker. And while it's wet, I'm going in to blend this down. I don't want it to dry because I don't want a big dark line of the dark crumb cake. I want to be able to blend all those lines out. So you want to work kind of quick with them because they're alcohol based. And then I'm gonna bring this down a little bit and fill in a little bit. And then extend that dark line. Pull it down again. You can layer these, you can go over them a bunch of times. Yep. Here, let's just keep going with the dark. So this is the light brush, and I'm making that dark line of the shadow where the roof hangs over. So we got this, there's the line. It's really kind of a stark line, but then once you blend it down, the line disappears, and I can even go back over the areas I colored before. But just make sure whatever you're working with that's saturated is the stuff you keep working off of so that it doesn't dry or make any weird lines while you're there. So here we go. Wow, these houses look a little bit different from one another, don't they? Okay, so here's the two houses side by side right now. While that one's kind of setting up and drying, because wow, it is really saturated. Look at how, I'm gonna come back in with that color lifter and see if I can do more damage control, because I'm heavy-handed. But that's okay, because it will react like a lifter. And then I can come back in and define the line with the skinny side of the brush at the end. But for now, I can go back in and lift out what I can to correct my little error. I think the chimney should be red too. Looking at it now, you know. All right, so I'm gonna let that set up for a second. It's drying. This lifter thing is doing its job. And while we're doing that, how about if we change to that purple color? And this is the back of the fuzzy. So that paper with the poinsettias on it, this is that, I don't know, it's like a church pattern. It's so pretty. I'm gonna see if this is dark enough to see. Oh, look at how soft and pretty. You could color this in multicolors. It doesn't have to be. I'm using the dark purple posy, which isn't all that dark. It's a light color. So it's more pastel. I was thinking it would make the florist where I sell my cards is asking me for more sympathy cards. So I was thinking it might make a nice sympathy card. Now, you may notice that I'm going outside the lines here, and it's not going to matter because the fuzz is on the other side. So when I flip it over against my white card base, all you're going to see is the really subtle purple posy. I think I got all the little crosses. And then I'll be able to add an embellishment to it to kind of test it. Let's flip it over on the whisper, on the shimmer, I should say. So that's what it's going to look like. You're probably not picking it up as nice in the camera. Let me see. You're really not. It's gorgeous in person. It's soft and beautiful, and it would be perfect for a sympathy card. So I'll layer this on a card base and I'll get a better photo of it for you, but it's cool. And because this is a vellum, you can see through it, and you wouldn't use a regular marker on this. You would need to use the blends for the color to show through, unless you do something like this, where you have the color showing through using the cardstock. I hope that makes sense. All right. So here we go. Oh, Robin, I'll have to make you a purple house. It's like those people in my neighborhood. You drive by and you're like, wow, look at that house. It's bright purple. If I go by it, I'll have to take a picture for you. Somebody is messaging me. Sorry, I'm live. Okay. So here we go. Now we've got the chimney, right? Oh, and we're going with the regular color for this one. So this one is just a red chimney. So this is the light cherry cobbler. And somebody said we need to use yellow for the windows, so this is the yellow windows. I want to put icicles on these. I don't know why it looks cold there. Maybe I need to do a background. It's funny, I was thinking that I should do the dark down again, like the darker yellow for the next piece of it. But then when I got to that half round window, I thought, oh my gosh, isn't that fun? So happy. Okay. So now I'm gonna do the dark cherry cobbler and the dark here, and I'm gonna even go back in with that here. Dark, dark, dark. It's saturated. And then I'll go in with the lighter color and pull it across and down. And it does kind of solve that issue of me going outside the lines, doesn't it? It's pretty. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with the, this is the darker yellow. And I'm gonna, it looks like our windows are a little dirty. My marker may have bled a little bit into it, but that's okay. I do get them really saturated, but I think it's gonna come out great. And then this one, I want like the fire is blazing, so bottoms up. Right now it looks like there's flames inside, but we're gonna fix it. The Memento ink is gonna stay put while I color right through that black, which is why we use the Memento and not an alcohol-based ink. And I should have probably did one window at a time, because I'm noticing that my dark yellow is sort of dry and I got a little line there, but I can keep blending and kind of wet it down again and hope that I blend the heck out of it. So that's the difference in the two. What do you think? So if you were to color with just the light one, it's still really beautiful and you get a great effect. And then this is kind of macked out and blended, and looks like there's a roaring fire in there. There's a lot more dimension. I think I could do a little bit better here on the top of my roof where there's a dark line and blend it down a little bit, because I'm seeing a line there. So let's go back in and fix that line. But there's nothing that you can't fix because you have that little lifter. So if you did have a terrible line, you can put the lift in and then go back and blend again. Just keep bringing it in, pulling it down. You can go back over the lightest color. Again, there's no, because these inks are meant to layer up. Shouldn't probably do that because I'll have that weird spot. There you go. All right, Here, I'm going to flip it over so I can see your comments because I'm not seeing them on my laptop. Cappy, it's good to see you, my friend. Okay, so let's see. Tree on the side. Oh, yeah, we'll definitely need to put a tree on the finished one. There's a purple and a teal house near my... It is kind of weird, like the purple house thing, but it works for people. You know, if it's your favorite color, paint your house whatever color you want. I've seen the red, white, and blue ones too, because they didn't want you to hang a flag out front, so they painted the whole house red, white, and blue. Gotta love it. Let's see, crumb cake, yellow windows. Haley Musso, hi Haley. Josie, red, watching. Yay, okay, so this video was for Chrissy to show the difference on why blends. The fact is, when you're working with blends, you can color on anything. I even made marks on my Stamparatus with my blends so that, here, let's see. So that when I want to line up my paper, I can line it up with these two lines, and if I want to take it off, I can just use hand sanitizer because this is alcohol based, and hand sanitizer is like almost 100% rubbing alcohol. So you can use hand sanitizer to remove it if you were to catch some on your table. Just be careful because you could also catch the finish and take it off, which would be bad. You'll see my little, this is how I keep my Stamparatus magnets easy to pick up. I got my minions. Very cool. And they keep me laughing. So we covered a lot. We colored the back of vellum. Aren't they pretty? These sheets are just gorgeous. That's the leaf one, and then we saw the poinsettia one, and then you saw the church one. So there were 3 patterns. Gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. I think that's it for blends. I think next week we will cover classic markers and how to layer them to make them look like blends. Because although you can color with your classic markers so that it's a solid color like this, you can, Kathleen, you use baby wipes to clean up alcohol stuff? Unless your baby wipes have an alcohol base in them, it may not take the blends off, because blends are alcohol based. You'd need like a hand sanitizer or rubbing alcohol to remove it if you got it kind of somewhere. But pretty cool. I'll have to finish these up, and if you have any questions at all, please message me. I appreciate you all very much, and I will see you next week, same time, 3 o'clock, Tuesday, right here. Have a great day. Bye, guys.